the first thing I need to do is to make all the electrical connections to the INGECON SUN STORAGE one plate. To do so, I will need to remove the cover, and this is done by unscrewing these 4 screws that I have over here. Careful, because there's one cable that connects the display with the inverter itself, which is this cable over here. So we have to remove this connector and then take the cover away. So now that we have all the internal parts of the inverter available, first thing I'm gonna do is to connect the batteries. Okay, these batteries from LG here can be opened from the top. They have a cover that you can remove, and I have already connected the positive and the negative cable, these ones here, to the battery. All right, these 2 cables. So now these cables need to go into the inverter, right? To do so, there are cable glands over here at the bottom, and the only thing we have to do is to open them and to allow the cables to access into the inverter. So, see the brown cable is actually the positive that needs to get connected over here. I just pass the cable through here. These fast connectors, so just a matter of putting the cable through and pressing this clamp. And same thing with the negative cable, all right? There we go. So now we have to tighten these cable glands to keep the tightness of the inverter. The next thing I have to do is to actually connect the communications from the battery to the inverter. Why? Because this is a lithium-ion battery. So there's a BMS system that actually is telling at all times what's the state of charge of the battery to the inverter. So when the inverter makes all the algorithms, or when the INGECON SUN EMS board is doing all the calculations, it takes that information from the battery, right? I'm gonna use this communications cable to communicate the BMS from the battery with the inverter, all right? On the one end of this cable, I have an RJ45 connector that is plugged over here. And on the other end, I have 3 stripped wires. What I recommend is that you go through the manual of your lithium-ion battery and you identify where is the can high, the can low, and the ground for the BMS of the batteries, all right? In this case, the blue cable will be the can high, the blue and white color cable will be the can low, and the orange will be the ground. So what I do is I put this cable through the cable gland here. I take it through the top, and now I'm going to proceed to make all the connections. There are 2 connectors over here at the bottom, over there, where you can actually connect your batteries. We recommend you connect them to the CAN-IN connector. So I'm going to proceed to wire these 3 cables, can high, can low, and ground. I'm going to connect them to the first connector. So basically what I have to do is to press the fast connector, plug the first one, then the second one, can low, by pressing the fast connector again. All right, and then the third one, which is the ground cable that I'm going to connect over here. I have now connected the 3 wires, so I'm going to pull now this communication cable away, and I'm going to tighten the cable clamp, right? I will be using this power cable to connect my inverter with the switchboard. This power cable has two ends. One end will be connected on this connector over here, and the other end will be connected to this thermal magnetic breaker that I have left on my switchboard. So I'm going to proceed to connect one end. I take the cable through the cable clamp, and then I'll have to open the clamps and place every cable in the right position, okay? Ground, neutral, ground, line and neutral, sorry. Now that is in, proceed to close the clamps firmly. I make sure that the cable is properly connected, and then I tighten the cable clamp. The other end of this power cable is going to be plugged in this thermal magnetic breaker you see over there. First thing, I'm going to open the switchboard. Off. As you can see, this is the thermal magnetic breaker where I will plug the inverter, right? So the first thing, as you can see, all these protections are closed, so I'm gonna open them all so I don't have any problem. And now it is time to take these cables and then connect them in the right position. Here we have line, neutral and ground again, okay? So in this thermal magnetic breaker, the way to wire it is like this, okay? Neutral and line goes to the thermal magnetic breaker. I'm going to open the screws a little bit more. And there's also another connector for ground that needs to be connected to the ground of my property. I have left a cable here to do so. So now I'm going to proceed to, as I said, to connect those cables. There we go. So now the AC side of the inverter is connected to my main switchboard. The next thing I have to connect are the PV modules. I have a positive and a negative cable, and they have to be plugged to the inverter. These cables come from the PV modules that are located on the roof of the building. They reach this room, and now what I have to do is to go to the bottom of the inverter, to this area here, remove these two covers, right? And then plug the PV modules as you have seen just now.